For me, my career was quite planned in the corporate industry. It just so happened the entrepreneurship found me. So it's actually related. I feel work experience does get you skills and skills get you work experience. So it's sort of there's an interdependence on both of this. It's not that AI can replace recruiters. It's not that the recruitment industry altogether will be wiped out by AI. There is a lot of human that we need in recruitment. And we just nuances are still required. Gut feelings are still required. I feel you still get those ideas that sometimes you meet somebody and just click. Right. So,
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another episode of HR Today Leadership Insight, a podcast series brought to you by HR Today, where we bring together some of the most impactful personality across the corporate world and voices that shape the future of work. Today, we are pleased to welcome Ms. Ishita Agi, a new generation HR leader who has shaped her journey across talent, transformation, and people strategy. With experience spanning leadership role at Cipla and as a co-founder of Clicked and Co-Hire, she brings a sharp focus on innovation and agility. We welcome you, ma'am, today.
thank you, Azushi. Thanks for having me here and the whole HR Today team. Thank you for having me.
In this episode, we will explore the theme redefining recruitment, emerging trends, and Click vision for the future of hiring. A deep dive how hiring is evolving and how organizations can reimagine recruitment and make it better, impactful, and more meaningful. So let's dive into this conversation. So the very first question that I would like to begin with you, ma'am, is about your journey. From starting at a leadership role at Cipla to being the co-founder of Click. How has the leap between how what inspired you to take the leap from corporate to entrepreneurship at recruitment?
It's a very long question, Azushi, and a very long answer of that too. But telling you in short, so I was blessed to start my career with Cipla, and I was even more blessed to have multiple opportunities within Cipla as well. And while I was doing the roles of employee engagement, OD, CHR's office, it was actually my last role, which was the sales HRBP role, which got me into entrepreneurship. It was not really on the cards for me. It just so happened that we were doing recruitment in our role, and we realized that we were still using a lot of traditional ways. I was not solving the problem for us. So we had to actually look out for something else. And I felt there was an opportunity good enough to explore and find some solutions for. And hence the journey for Crypt started.
So your career as an entrepreneur was basically an organic one. It was not pre-planned at all.
Definitely. It was not pre planned at all. For me, my career was quite planned in the corporate industry. It just so happened the entrepreneurship found me.
So, ma'am, over the last few years, recruitment has seen a massive shift. So, according to you, what are the top two or three emerging trends that are affecting recruitment these days?
So, honestly, Vidoshi, I feel recruitment has changed over the last few years. Uh, it it was high time that we actually saw a change in recruitment. There were multiple areas in HR which have been changing for decades now. Recruitment caught up a little late. Maybe the last 5 years is when we saw some changes happening in recruitment. Some of the bigger changes I feel is how we are assessing talent, removed from resume based, interview based assessment to skill based assessment, which I feel was the much weighted change for recruitment to come in. Second, I feel is also AI based screening. A lot of people are using bots to do screening. There are recruiters in the industry who do about 100 calls a day. And for them, it's a respite there was much waiting. So we've got bots that do those screening calls for them. And once they do, the recruiters only have to do calls with the shortlisted ones. So it's a huge movement that's happened for recruitment. And I see these two trends happen not just in some pockets, but literally across the country and across the world at the same time. So I feel we're going to soon see a sort of a revolutionary movement in recruitment, not just incremental changes.
Okay. So, ma'am, do you believe that these two new trends are here for the longer run? Will they be in a run for a long time or will they perish shortly?
Sure. So I think for the first one, which is skill-based assessment, I feel it's here to stay because interviews have been an old method of assessing candidates and finding the right talent. However, I feel we've overdone it and we're yet to get the right value for it. So maybe this one is here to stay. For AI based screening bots, I'm not really sure how the population is responding to it. We've seen a huge acceptance as of now, but since we're seeing AI moving up in a lot of areas, we might see some bit of resistance later. So for this one, I think we'll have to see it out and wait it out.
Okay. We also emphasize on the skill part of the job. So, what do you think is provides more weightage, the skills or the work experience that an individual has?
Right. Okay. So it's actually related. I feel work experience does get you skills and skills get you work experience. So it's sort of there's an interdependence on both of this. However, for me, if I'd say personally, skills much more important. Your work experience can be in any vertical as long as you have the skills for the role that you're hiring for. I would prioritize skill over experience. But that's a personal call. Everywhere in the industry, it's different. Depends on the kind of roles that you're going for, the kind of companies that you're going for. Also, how was your experience then personally? That surely dictates what you put as a priority.
So, coming to the third question, Click positions itself as a tech-led recruitment platform.
Yeah.
So, would you like to explain how Click differentiates itself from the traditional recruitment models?
Definitely. So, Vidushi, we started with traditional recruitment ourselves, our organization. We started for 2 years. We just did recruitment the old fashioned way. We wanted to see what was the issue in the market. We wanted to understand what exactly the challenge was before we sought after or we sought out to find a solution to it. And hence, we've realized that there was a solution or a gap in recruitment, how we were doing it earlier. And we wanted to move to a tech enabled solution. So, our current solution that we give is an AI enabled assessment based recruitment. We prioritize skills, similar to the first question that you asked, actually. We prioritize that this should be a skill based assessment that decides whether the talent is right or not and if that fits the role or not. So that's what we've changed from traditional recruitment here.
Coming to the AI part, which have you mentioned? So, ma'am, do you think that there is a specific line that the recruiter should not cross when it comes to automating decision making while hiring someone?
It's a very tricky question, I must say. Yes, there are always, people always fear that there are jobs at stake when we take too much of AI interference into that particular process. And that is the fear that recruiters also have. Hence, there is a resistance in accepting a lot of AI automations. We are moving one step at a time. And the skill or the part here from the recruiters is that they also upskill themselves in learning the ways of AI. It's not that AI can replace recruiters. It's not that the recruitment industry altogether would be wiped out by AI. There is a lot of human that we need in recruitment, and we just cannot do without that. But yes, there is a fear that's come from the recruiter side, and there is a slow amalgamation of AI that's happening in recruitment. However, I feel over time, maybe the next 2 years, you'll see a lot of steps being modified or being automated by AI. So it's going to entrench soon.
Okay, so ma'am, do you actually believe that the fact that AI is gonna end up taking the human job, or do you believe that it will just increase the level of job that humans enter? For example, supposingly, if I am entering at a level 1 job, so with the help of AI, I'll be able to enter at a level 4 job. So which one do you think is true?
So I don't feel AI is going to take recruitment jobs. It's going to take some part of a recruiter's job and make it easier for them. However, I don't think so. Jobs, it's going to be wiped out by AI on this. It's definitely enabling us to find better talent faster. So our stats for hiring would get lower. Our sort of correlation between our hiring and performance going to increase definitely. So our assessment, whatever we do via AI, is going to give us the right talent. So that's definitely going to help our attrition levels, our engagement at work. So it's going to actually make our employee experience better in the organization. In terms of if it's going to get you a better job, yes, it's going to automate a lot of root work here. A lot of work which is more on the coordination front, more on the calling front, that's definitely going to go out. So it's for recruiters and how do they or how agile they are to enable AI to do their jobs or help them in it. But it's not going to go away for sure.
Yeah. So, ma'am, can we just say that in order to sustain a job, in order to get better job, one must get accustomed to AI?
I feel definitely. Right now, you've got to do it.
Yeah. Candidate experience a buzzword, but it's still a challenge.
It's
So,
definitely a challenge, yes.
so what would you like to say on?
Candid experience, honestly, Vidushi, is still a challenge. We've not yet mastered it. We still don't extend feedbacks to them on time. We don't close the candid journey very well. And there are very few candidates who can say from very few companies that they've had a very good recruitment process. Usually, candidates come out dissatisfied from any process, be it the topmost MNCs that we have in the country right now. We are yet to find our way around because everyone's literally running. Everyone's trying to manage the TAT on recruitment at every stage of recruitment. So it becomes very difficult to keep customer experience or candidate experience at the center. However, what we discussed earlier, I see AI would definitely do that job to ensure that there is candidate engagement throughout the process plus regular feedback. That's what makes the difference. So maybe if we use AI right, I think we'd be able to master that, but we're yet to get that.
With Gen Z now entering the workforce, expectations are evolving really fast, ma'am.
Yeah.
So, how do you tailor hiring strategies to the new talent that we have now?
So Vidushi, Gen Z is usually called a problem child in organizations. We feel that they have a lot of potential. However, performance comes a little later, and they're also settling into the organization, understanding what exactly is the role about. How do you function in a professional setup? That is still yet to happen. So there is a bit of challenge. There is definitely a bit of gap in how the Gen Z is expecting plus working and how a traditional organization right now is working, progressing. But there are startups who are all Gen Z based who have accepted this wholly and actually thrive in that sort of environment. So what we need to be cognizant is that in any organization, we have every sort of candidate, every sort of employees. They come from different backgrounds. They're going to be millennials. They're going to be Gen Z. However, we have to make the environment right for everybody. It should not be that we make tailor the environment for one particular part of our employees or segments that we are taking. But yes, also I feel any sort of expectant in terms of what are the expectations that Gen Z has, that sort of expectation setting on both sides. What is the expectations from organization? What is the expectation from Gen Z? We need to do that right. So there needs to be that part addressed in the induction itself so that they are.
So, ma'am, a lot of employers call Gen Z lazy. So, what do you think about that? Is Gen Z actually lazy, or they just look for smarter ways to get a job done?
So we've got a lot of Gen Zs in our company itself, and I don't feel that lazy, honestly, but they definitely look for smarter ways to find solutions. They also, at the risk of sounding very millennial from my side, but they also look for easier solutions sometimes, and that's fine. I think it's okay to do that. It's okay if you have an easier solution. You need not get through your earlier ways of working just because that's how it's been. If you're able to find an easier or a better or faster, smarter solution, why not? So I don't feel that they're lazy. I feel they just have a different way of working. And we as organizations need to make space for it, be more accommodative.
Have you seen a particular difference on how Gen Z perform in an interview versus how millennials used to perform in an interview? Or the expectations or the way of working?
So I feel there is a difference on how they're performing in an interview. I would not call it performing in an interview, but how they're responding in an interview. I feel they're more candid. And it's not a one-way interview anymore with the millennials or baby boomers or earlier generation. We usually had one-way interviews where interviewer was checking if the candidate is a fit for an organization. But now when I interview Gen Z, I feel it's a two-way conversation where the candidate is also exploring if this organization is a right fit for them or not. So the conversations become more equal. And I feel that's a very good step for recruitment. And we've sort of set ourselves at an equal footing, both candidates and employers. It's not employers' market anymore. We're both there equally now.
So earlier you also mentioned about diversity. So, and you also have the post on the LinkedIn talking about diversity. So, do you feel that is it really true that reservation or quotas might jeopardize the quality of work that we get from the employees, or it's just the same?
So, Vidushi, I honestly am very against the quota system. I believe that's not the way you address diversity. Um, Even when I was younger and we used to travel by metro, there was one coach which was reserved for ladies, and we made it a point as a group to never actually travel in that coach because we felt that that's not really how you do diversity, and that's not how you integrate both sides of population. Actually, you rather are causing a lot of strain on the other gender by doing this. There have been some bit of inequality over the past, definitely, but that's not today's generation's doing. So it'll be wrong to basically punish one gender because your previous generations have been causing that inequality. One is that. Second, I feel we definitely have to create opportunities, but there has to be a culture of meritocracy. Even when we assess candidates for a particular position, we ensure that in the pool we have both genders or all genders, or I should say now, but we don't prioritize any gender. We ensure that we have equal number or equal representatives on all genders. However, they have to go through the process at the same level, same assessment, or same sort of evaluation. And if they get through, we're more than happy to have more of any gender. Yeah, but definitely not prioritizing any particular gender. The personal opinion, I feel that's not how we would want us to be assessed or catered to. I would not want after 20 years somebody to say that you've made it in this world because you were a woman. Wow. And not even say that you've made it in spite of being a woman. I think that should not really be related to your success at all.
So, again, coming to AI and automation are becoming critical tools in recruitment. So, what is your take on balancing tech and human intuition in hiring?
Right. So, recruitment initially was, I think, very individual based or very human based, and a lot of what still is. Even when we recommend our solutions to our current clients, we tell them that it's not that your recruitment will be free from human interference. It's just that you will have more data and you will have more analysis to take that call. We still recommend that the final interview or the final call has to be taken by the hiring manager itself so that you have all the data points, you have all the analysis that we've done, but you match it to the role requirements. You see the human side of it. Nuances are still required. Gut feelings are still required. I feel you still get those ideas that, sometimes you meet somebody and you just click, right? And that sort of feeling or that sort of intuition we cannot really train AI to do. So it's always going to be a mix of both. There's only some part that we can automate, but human interference is much more important. But it's still going to be there.
So, we can basically say that AI has just eased up our job, and
Nice.
human touch is absolutely necessary for anything.
We cannot do without it.
So, ma'am, you just mentioned that with some human that you just find a click. So, is this the reason why you named the company Clicked?
Rightly picked with Ruchi. We named the organization Clicked because we feel that finding the right role fit for an organization is important. And there are multiple aspects to it. There is AI, there is gut feeling, there are different nuances that come into place. And when you get that feeling that you say, this just clicked, that is when you find the best talent or the best role. So that's where the inspiration of the company name.
How do you see the future of hiring in the next few years, and what roles will a platform like Click play in the future of hiring?
So I don't know about future of hiring. I feel hiring is a smaller window or a smaller part of talent acquisition, but we believe in working on the whole aspect of talent acquisition. So talent acquisition's got like a smaller part which is called recruitment, and they've got a smaller part which is hiring. For us, we're working on the whole aspect of talent acquisition, including your branding of it, your candidate experience, your onboarding experience. All of that is, we want all that to come together at Click, and that's what we're working on. In terms of how we play a role in it, we're trying to, it's Click is actually a movement that we've started where we want candidates or employers both to find the right role fit And to do that, we've ensured that we've changed the ways of recruitment, in which we say that the traditional ways of recruitment is not how we do. Rather, we will do assessment based recruitment. And that's something which is moving from CV based, portfolio based recruitment. We are rather moving to skill based assessment. And we believe that even if there are freshers entering the workforce, or if there are people who want to change their functions, change their role, they would be assessed on the skill. And that's becoming much more common nowadays. There's increase in gig workforce, there's increase in project-based deployment. People like their flexibility, so they don't want to get into full-time employment or full-time commitment to it. And that is what we want to enable via that. That you're not being assessed for what you've done previously, or what you know and what you can. And that we feel is the future of recruitment and talent. That's what we're working on.
So beyond recruitment, what is next for Click? Are there any new verticals that you are aspiring for?
So what we've done with Oshi is we do recruitment here. We do assessment-based recruitment. So we also sell assessments online. Companies can take and use those assessments at multiple places in a candidate journey. What we are now doing is we want to get assessments to be used beyond the candidate journey, be it for a role movement, if the employee is already there in the organization and is moving from one role to the other, or getting promoted, or being the first time manager. We want assessments to be catered to those life cycle points as well, not just during recruitment. Apart from that, we've also started creating small talent training modules so that anybody who wants to upskill themselves or brush up on their knowledge before they want to get assessed, they can do that via our platform itself. These are two things that we're working on right now.
Oh, yeah, great answer. So I would also like to ask you one question. If you were to go back in the past and advise your younger self, so what will be that piece of advice that you would like to give yourself?
Hmm. I'm honestly not sure what I can share as an advice to my younger self, honestly. Uh, but I feel I would definitely say don't study in your MBA class to understand. Attend more of those classes. I will definitely do that. I think I'd also advise my younger self to take the plunge sooner. I waited for 4 years to start this company, and I think I could have maybe started a little earlier, and I could have given more time to this venture. And whatever steps we're taking now to move onto AI, or what other offerings do we have, we could have just done this a little earlier. But I feel that's all entrepreneurs. You'd hear this a lot. Everyone would say that you could have started this earlier. You could have done this before. So yeah, that's gonna be for me as well.
Okay, so as you mentioned that you would advise yourself to start a bit earlier, but do you also feel that that 3 years and 11 months of work experience was something that
Yeah,
has
that's
helped you to grow as a
definitely.
professional?
Definitely, it did. So it's actually because of the experience that I started the organization. But it's your mind and it's your brain always keeps telling you, you could have done this earlier.
Mm.
You could have done more. And I have a habit of pushing myself more than what's required. So that's just me.
Okay. So, ma'am, finally, I would like to ask you a question.
Sure.
That what advice you would like to give to younger HR professional and aspiring entrepreneurs
Sure.
in the HR tech space?
So I feel for all the people who are entering into HR, it's a new space. It's not the same HR that it was a decade ago. All the functions on HR has changed. Your academic knowledge is really important. However, what's even more important right now is the practical knowledge. Get into a lot of projects, do a lot of internships, understand how organizations are doing different verticals of HR, be it talent management, learning. The game's changed altogether. It's not what we are studying anymore. It's not what we are reading around. And there are so many nuances that come in HR, which become a lot more important than the conceptual execution that we are doing. And you only understand once you're doing it. So on the job training or on the job learning is really important. So do as much of that as possible and do it before you get formally into a full-time job or your first jobs.
And what advice about the aspiring entrepreneurs?
I think to all the aspiring entrepreneurs or starting into this particular journey, I'd say select your team right. It's really important. You're not going to carry your company alone. You're not going to work on it alone. There are going to be late nights. There are going to be times when you have 16 hours plus of workday, and your team is actually going to carry that whole company with you. So it's really important to find the right co-founders and the right team. That is what will help you carry it all out.
So, ma'am, you mentioned that in Click you do assessment based hiring. So, what are the types of assessment that you do?
So Vidushi, at Click, we do three types of assessments right now. One is behavioral assessments, where we allow companies to customize the assessment as per their requirements and their behavioral frameworks that they have, where we assess how the candidate, once that candidate comes into the role, how that person would behave. Second part that we have is technical or functional assessment, where we again give the option of customizing as per the competency framework that the companies have, where they can assess how the candidate would behave on the job or would perform the job on the technical or the functional aspect of it. And the third part, which is very commonly used these days, are aptitude assessment. We have a 3-tier aptitude assessment that we've made. And this is something that people have accepted very proactively. And functional and behavioral is something which is still reaching out to companies, and people are yet to accept it in their everyday assessment or every role assessment.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this incredible insight. And with this, we have reached the final and the most interesting segment of our podcast, the rapid fire round. So, are you ready for the rapid fire round now?
Definitely.
Okay, so here's the first question. One word to describe the future of recruitment.
I think future recruitment is going to be very agile. It's going to keep changing to the next 5 to 10 years.
Resume or portfolio, which one do you see first?
Portfolio. I want to see how they've done than what they've done.
One skill that you believe that every candidate needs to have today.
Anybody specifically for freshers, I feel one skill that they need to have is critical thinking. And I feel that's lack. It's not so common as opposed to popular belief. It's not so common. And I think that's something that everybody should come with when they're going to the interview. Okay.
A leadership trait that you admire the most.
I feel team management and not micromanaging. Managing your team right is something that I would really admire. Okay.
Office, formal wear or smart casuals.
I think somewhere in between, and like smart formal. Formals are something which sometimes feel that are not so approachable, and smart formals basically say that it's work, but it's still approachable. Oh.
So, one book or podcast that has helped you in your professional journey.
I don't know about the professional journey, honestly, but there are two books that I read in my childhood, and a lot of females out there would have said the same thing. But the one is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and the other is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I feel these two books made me think of the individuality or financial independence that you need to get as women. That really impacted my education and how I went on at my job.
And the best advice that you have received in your career.
The best advice that I have actually received in my career is put your head down and work hard, and you will get there. Career is a very long term game.
Okay. That was a really power-packed conversation full of insight, foresight, and heart. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing us your story and for sharing that how hiring is evolving and the future of hiring. To our audience, thank you so much for tuning in. Stay connected with HR Today Leadership Insight for most podcasts. Thank you. So,